Welcome, everyone. As you're coming in today to the Google for Education Innovator Program application workshop, we're inviting everyone to join us in a back channel today because it's going to be a little interactive. So go ahead and type in todaysmeet.com/innovator, todaysmeet.com/innovator, and go ahead and share your name, where you're from, and maybe your job role. What are you doing right now? And we're going to leave this up for about 2 minutes as folks come in, but come meet us in the back channel right now and say hi. We'll get started in just a moment. Awesome, great to see everybody coming in. Again, welcome to the Google for Education Innovator Program Application Workshop. We are here with some awesome people for the next hour, and it is an interactive hangout. We're here to help you with your questions, your ideas for changing education around the world. So join us now, todaysmeet.com/innovator. And we already see people all over. Yay, hi Melinda, Jennifer, we've got Connecticut represented, British Columbia, hi Isabel, Alabama, all over. Let's see, do we have anyone from non-North America joining us? Let's see, we have, of course, we have Les from Hawaii on our team here right now. Great, keep them coming, guys. Come on in, todaysmeet.com/innovator, and your name, your job, and where you're at right now. Welcome, Kelly. Awesome, everyone. Well, I'm seeing people starting to pour into the back channel. Please keep that tab open for the afternoon today as we go through this, and we'll have chances for you to ask questions and interact, and of course, at the end, share with us what your vision is, what your idea is. Leave this up for one more second, get folks in there. All right, awesome, guys. Well, let's get started. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We're super excited to chat with you all about this program. My name's Wendy Gorton. You can find me at Wendy Gorton online, and super excited to share this program with some really talented fellow innovators on our panel here today. So you're all at the back channel, yay, so we'll keep talking to you back there. As you come in too, if you have a social media, either Twitter or Google+, and hopefully this can be a great time for you to add to your personal learning network too. Everyone here on this call is a great leader in education and a good person to have in your court beyond this application as well. So go ahead and throw in your social media if you want to build your PLN right now. In the back channel, but we're here, of course, to talk about this program. And in this background right here, we've got our Mountain View cohort that we had earlier this year. Right after ISTE, we had our Colorado group. And of course, you're all here today to chat about our Toronto group, which is our first Canadian cohort. So we're super excited for that. Really brief overview to make sure you're in the right place and we're chatting about the right thing is we're talking about the actual applications to apply to become an innovator today. And those are due August 30th. So if you've just heard about this today, maybe you were nominated, maybe somebody sent you this, there's still plenty of time. And really, we're going to spend the day looking at whatever your vision is, your idea, and we'll also look at the other prerequisites, like needing a Google for Education Level 2 certification before you can apply. And here is our agenda. We're going to join the back channel. We're going to meet all these great people below us in just a second and ask them why you should apply. We'll look at the prerequisites. We'll look at the actual application, so short answer, your vision deck that you have to make, and a video. And then we'll have some time for Q&A and any strategies for the application. But really, right here at number 6, I want to really spend some time with you guys in the back channel chatting about your ideas, so don't be shy today. Now's your chance to kind of throw out what you have and be brave and put what you're thinking and get some really good feedback from some really awesome folks. On another tab, everybody, you can open up certifiedinnovators.com. That's where the application is, and there's also a great cheat sheet there that you can open up the doc, make a copy, and start right now thinking about what your answers will be to those. Drop any questions in today's meet. We'll go through that. And the archive will be available on Google Plus event page and YouTube after. So if you need to pop out for dinner or life or any of those things, no problem. You can watch this later. But now let's meet everyone. I was hoping we could go down the bottom, and if all of my innovator panelists could share your name, what cohort of the Google for Education Certified Innovator Program you are from, what are you doing now, and maybe just super briefly, why should these people think about applying to be a part of this program? So let's start. We'll start at the left. How about with Jeffrey Humphreys? Tell us, Jeffrey, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, so I am from MTV 2014, and I see a couple of people on here. Sandra and Roland were both in my cohort, and I'm currently now working with EdTech team as the Director of Professional Development and Product in Canada. And why should you apply? Because you get to become a part of a great network. You get to meet a ton of interesting people, and it's just having that chance to bounce ideas off of other people who are thinking the same with you. And I know for myself, I applied because I kind of felt alone in where I was with my school and having the support, and I needed sort of some other outside thinkers to help me grow myself, and this program definitely did that for me.
Awesome, Jeffrey. Thanks so much for sharing. Great, guys. Keep the back channel going with sharing here if you haven't yet. Les, who's joining us from Hawaii right now, so we can all funnel our jealousy there right now. It looks beautiful there, Les. Tell us a little bit about you and why somebody might want to apply.
Sure. So my name is Leslie Macbeth, and I was part of the MTV 16 cohort, so just this past February. Like Jeff said, it really, I think the best thing about the program is being connected to all these other really inspiring educators and really creating a strong bond with them in a very short amount of time, which I think was super valuable. For me, another thing that turned out to be of value from the program is so that it actually sort of helped lead to a new opportunity for me, a new job opportunity, which was really exciting. And I'll talk about that more a little later on when we talk about how the program runs. But it's just a great opportunity to really push your thinking and to see what else is happening out there and find opportunities for your ideas to gel with other people's ideas and just build a network of people that are all working on really exciting projects in education.
I love it. Thanks so much, Les, for coming, especially being new in one of our first cohorts this year in 2016. So excited to have your feedback for everyone here today. Yay, awesome. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Good, Wendy, and hey all. It's good to be here, and it's really fun to see so much activity in the back channel chat. I'm here in Irvine. For those of you that know me, I've been involved from the very beginning and helped lead the first Google Teacher Academy in 2006, and happy to still be involved with this iteration 10 years later. So really excited about what the Innovation Academy has become this year, particularly with all of Wendy and Michelle's work on it. But I can't advocate enough applying. If you have any inclination to be a part of all this, it's by far the most prolific and innovative community I've ever been a part of, and it's changed the trajectory of many careers and really affected a lot of change in schools over the last decade. So it's amazing to see what the community's done and what so many individuals in the community have been able to accomplish in their schools and in their regions and in their work. So I'm excited about the fact that there are people writing in this today's meet right now that we may get to meet in Toronto and who may launch great new things over the next year and over the next decade. So excited to get to meet and know many of you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Again, guys, if you just popped in a little bit late, we're at todaysmeet.com/innovator. Put any questions, thoughts, ideas you have there, and we'll pop back in there later as well to look at your ideas that you have brewing for this. Thanks, Mark. All right, Refrans, tell us. Thanks for coming today.
Hello, I'm Refrans, of course, and I was in the Austin cohort. As we like to say, we kept it so weird that they had to change the whole program. We were the last cohort before the new and improved one, where you actually have to do the projects that you sit down and plan. So I'm really excited to be a part of this. I actually came up with a project in my cohort that I did not do. It probably went through 10 iterations. But I ended up in not a bad space. I joined a new school district, actually largely in part to participating in the Innovator program. And really being inspired to know that I could actually lead and I could help guide an initiative that before that I honestly didn't see myself doing that. I didn't think that I could. And going through that design thinking process and kind of really thinking about who I wanted to be as a person, as a leader, and as an educator helped me to come to that conclusion. In my school district, my official title is Executive Director of Professional and Digital Learning. Which basically means that they just say go. So there are no barriers, I have learned, and I just kind of navigate as if there aren't any at all. So I'm really excited to be as a part of this and supporting this program, and especially with seeing how much people are now doing in this space that maybe that they weren't doing before.
Awesome. Thanks, Refrans, for sharing, and hopefully you can take a piece of that inspiration, everyone, and really think of your ideas as if there were no barriers, and hopefully you can, with this next year, get there, and we're excited to help you all with that. Cool. Roland, thanks for coming today, man. How's it going?
It's great. I'm at the beach right now, so I'm really happy I could jump in and join. I wasn't sure if my Wi-Fi connection would work, so far so good. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. And your cohort and what you're up to when you're not at the beach?
Yeah, okay, so my name is Roland Chidiak, and I was part MTV 2014 with Sandra and Jeffrey. And I'm a grade 4-5 teacher in Waterloo with the Waterloo Catholic District School Board. And I think applying to this program is an amazing opportunity. Other people have said to meet new people and get to experience interested in pushing the limits. Is making amazing connections with people.
Well, I think it's on island time. And I think the hangout's on island time for you, but I think I caught a whiff of inspiration and going for it from you. Hopefully everyone got the gist of that. But Mountain View 14 was a good cohort, and we're stoked to have a few folks from that here. Well, maybe it will. Maybe it'll clear up in just a second, or maybe it needs a Mai Tai. We'll see. But we'll come back and see if it's a little bit better. Oh, there you are. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Roland. Sandra, how are you today? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, me first? Did you say Sandra?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, hi, this is Sandra. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I was with, as Jeffrey and Roland said, in MTV 14 in Mountain View. It was a great experience for me. I'd just come back from Taiwan and jumped back into teaching in Canada again, and felt like I was just needing some inspiration. And a friend had told me about the Google Teacher Academy that she had attended in Australia, and said it was amazing, a great experience of learning, and she shared all the things that she learned, and I was like, I need to go to this. I need to apply. And it was a great experience for me, just to, first and foremost, the connections that I made, just being able to meet educators from around the world, and really feel like I'm very connected to all of them now, and finding that when I need assistance or when I need ideas, that there is truly a big tribe all around you, and it's not just the tribe that you attend the Innovator Academy with, but there's a whole cohort all over the world, from when Mark first went to the Teacher Academy to the last one that that happened in Colorado, and it continues to grow, and it's just a great group of teachers. And I was lucky to be the coach at the MTV Innovation Academy with Les, and just the new academy is very, very good. It's just a great way to look at your teaching and try a project that you might not necessarily have the audacity to try normally, but having the all of Google and all these innovators and mentor to be with you through that whole project and guiding you is just amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, Sandra. Yeah, and Sandra will be in Toronto as well as other folks on this call too, so you'll get to hang out with these folks face to face if you're selected for this cohort. So thanks so much, Sandra. And I know Sylvia is going to say the same thing, but I mean, you may have seen Sylvia's sketch notes before, but she has a great one about finding your tribe. And I mean, I think everyone has said that same tenor here today, that that's such a big part of why you should apply and why you might be interested in this group of people. So Sylvia, tell us a little bit about you and your cohort and what you're up to now. Oops, I think you're muted. Here, let's unmute you. Can you there you are.
Now? Okay, hi everyone. I'm Sylvia Duckworth from Toronto. I'm so excited that the next Academy will be in Toronto. All Canadian for the first time, so this is going to be awesome. But I teach grades 3 and 4 French, core French, and as Mark talked earlier about, it leads to bigger and better things in your profession having the certification, because I lobbied for years to have a job in the lower school where I teach, a role that allows me to coach teachers with technology, and they finally said, yes, Sylvia, you can do it. So I'm really excited about that. So in September I'll be doing 70% French and 30% IT coach. But I did want to talk also about the tribe, and I did do a drawing about the benefits of having a tribe, and I really feel strongly about that insofar as the Google Innovator program goes. So you are constantly inspired and energized by your tribe. You feel that your ideas and your opinions matter. You're motivated to share with them. You feel accepted and appreciated. You feel nourished from the outside and from the inside. You can turn to them for help at any time. They advise you without judgment. I mean, I could go on. I cannot recommend highly enough this program, so I really encourage everyone to definitely apply, and good luck.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sylvia, and thanks so much all of our panelists today for coming and sharing a little bit about what you're up to and why somebody might want to apply for this. It got me motivated, so hopefully you guys in the back channel too. Continue to share any questions we have. I've seen a few come in. We'll definitely get to those. But now that we've learned a little bit about the panel, why you might want to apply, I do have a few more benefits. This is actually from Colorado. One of the biggest ones is it's fun. You get to go to the Google office itself. So you could see here, this is people getting back rubs in Colorado from just like a Googler might and live the Google lifestyle for 2 days. But it's also the first in Canada, so that's really special. Somebody did ask, would more Canadians be selected than not? It certainly is super special to have it up in Canada, so expect a lot of Canadians for sure, but you don't need to be, and it's open globally. The last 2 cohorts, we've been so stoked to have folks from South Africa, South Korea, all over, so everyone's eligible. You just got to get there, and then we'll take care of the rest for sure. But you would be joining, I did have a few other things, but you do get 12 months of support towards completing that project, like Franz mentioned. You do get a handy-dandy badge and get part of a group, so you stay in touch with the larger group. And potential opportunities to speak and work with Google teams, so all sorts of possibilities. Career mobility, as some of us here have mentioned, jobs changing after being a part of this program for sure. So lots and lots of benefits to becoming one for sure. And this is that tribe, that network that everyone mentioned, but over 1,300 certified innovators around the world, 49 countries. I'm sure it's more than that now. It needs to be a little bit up to date, but this is what you're joining. To get there, though, guys, we're going to briefly go over prerequisites, what you need, and then we'll jump into your ideas. So let's start with the actual application page itself. So if you want to open it up, certifiedinnovators.com. But really, who are you? And as you're in the back channel, you can share if this is who you are or examples of maybe how this is you. But really, we're looking for people who are ambassadors for change, who empower other educators and students. You have to want to change the world of education, right? You want to bring a new-to-the-world solution. So really looking at that idea and what you want to do over the next year is important. And then showing some sort of history of already doing something innovative at your school site, right, is something that you'll need to show in this application. And you'll also want to make sure you have time to commit to the year. We know everyone's super busy and doing great stuff, and so along with that comes, having busy schedules. But we do want to make sure for, as Les being part of one of our newer cohorts, your tribe needs you too. So in terms of being there for checking in with the program and working with your teams to get your project across the finish line, do make sure you've got some time over the next year. But as we mentioned earlier, the application is due on August 30th. You'll know a week later if you got into the program, and then really everything starts there. So we've got a virtual learning community you become a part of, and then you do have to be available for the face-to-face academy in Toronto, Ontario. So make sure you're available for those times, because that's really the meat of the program, but it's not all of it, right? We get to know each other face-to-face, think about your ideas more broadly, meet Googlers, all sorts of fun stuff happen for 2.5 days. But then your real work happens, and we work and support with each other online throughout the year. And the goal is that you submit your project by a year later. So I think you all can do that, and we're stoked you're here. If you have any questions while I'm rolling through these requirements, drop them in. And then panelists, if you have an answer, you can go ahead and throw that in the chat as well. But really, the main 2 things you need, a Google Certified Educator Level 2. So in the chat right now, you can let us know, do you have that certification already? Are you thinking about getting it? If you have already taken it and you're in the back channel, go ahead and share with us any tips or strategies for tackling that. That is the advanced certification, so it does drill down a little bit into the Google Apps for Education, but it's actually pretty awesome because it means when you get to the academy that folks already are pretty fluent in Google Apps for Education. I know my first cohort when I went in London in 2010, we were still doing sessions on literally how to do Google Docs, which was fine. It was brand new to me, and I was so stoked to learn it. But now, I mean, the level of depth that you can get into when you're at the Face-to-Face Academy is super powerful because everyone already knows how to kind of do the basics with Google Apps. Really, it's going to be more about the networking and the ideas that you guys have. Plus, you need to demonstrate a history of innovation in schools, and that's what the short answer questions will ask you. And do make sure that you actually upload your PDF of your certificate. We don't want to be disqualified because you don't do that, so just make sure you actually get your actual PDF uploaded. Cool, guys, that's the prerequisite. So if you have any questions about Level 2 certification or history of innovation in schools, drop those in the back channel right now. And yay, it looks like just taking a peek. Some of you, like any of y'all, have already done the training part, and now you're going to do the exam. So just do it. Dive in. Any other words of advice from our panel about taking the Level 2 certification or getting ready? We have a couple weeks to go. Anybody have any advice?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to chime in and say a few people posted, I think it was Megan, Sylvia's blog post she wrote about doing her Level 1 and Level 2. And I think it's worth a read, just sort of because she goes through sort of some good tips and guidelines and sort of what she felt by going through it. And I mean, she's on the call, so she can speak further to it, but it is a good post. It's a good thing to look at.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's really important, guys, that you get on top of that right away, because you don't succeed the first time. I don't know. We may already be run out of time, but you do need to wait 2 weeks to be able to write it again. Is that right, Wendy?
Yeah. So you 7 days.
Oh, it's 7 days?
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, so it's better
You
to
might want to take it right. I mean, give it a go now. So like any y'all or anyone who's been studying, you're going to want to give it a go here in the next week just in case you don't pass it and need to take it again.
Yeah, okay, but my advice in the blog post is that it would be wrong to take it thinking how hard can it be, because it really is a lot harder than I expected it to be. So if you're going to do it, at least take a look at the practice tests that are in there, because there's a quiz at the end of every section, at the end of every unit, and make sure you go over those before you attempt the exam.
Awesome. Thanks, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
Great, and other folks in the back channel are sharing strategies for reviewing. Great encouragement already happening even in the back channel, so a great group already. Thanks everyone for sharing some good ideas as well. I see a couple of questions there. Darren says to study it for sure. Cool. Be familiar with it already. Thanks, Rob. Play with the apps ahead of time. So yeah, you should already be pretty familiar with all of those, so you can kind of quickly have one tab open and be able to mess about and test something out and while you're doing the exam. So cool. And then we've got time. Don't start at midnight. They said it's going to take you a few hours for sure. So cool. Thanks, guys. If you have any other questions, particularly around Level 2, throw those in, and our panelists can kind of keep answering those. Or if you've already passed the Level 2, you can be a leader in the chat as well and just share some tips. Cool, guys. Thanks. Let's dig into the next part so we can really get into your ideas. You just have to start, right? That's kind of the first step. You can't what is it? Because we're talking about Canada, we should talk about hockey. But Mark, what's the hockey quote for Wayne Gretzky? What does he say? You make zero of the goals that you don't take a shot on.
Yeah, I think you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
And there's a statistic along those lines too. It's like every goal scored is a shot on net. It's sort of a tautology, I guess. Wendy, would it be a good time to address Eddie's question that stuck out to me a minute ago about the project, or you want to wait a couple minutes on that?
Yeah, I saw Eddie's question. Let's dig. He asks about earth-shattering ideas. Let's get through this, and then Les can talk to us a little bit about ideas, and then we'll dig into your actual ideas. But yeah, I saw that too. Thanks, Mark.
Perfect.
Cool. So you do have to start, guys, and the good news is that there is this doc I mentioned, so do make a copy of it, and you can start right now. So start putting down your words and ideas, and then you can save this. I'm a big fan of, if you don't make it in this go, you can apply the next cohort, and you can work and edit and iterate even on these answers and these short answers and your vision. So hopefully you use this as a chance to springboard it off, and maybe it's something that becomes a project that you just make into your own business that you want to anyway, or a book you wanted to write anyway. So hopefully this is a good chance for you to brainstorm and put your thoughts down on paper regardless of this cohort, and whether or not you make that goal this time. So make a copy of that. It's got your character maximum, which is making those concise answers is always a little bit tough, but it makes you really think about how to best say your idea, for sure. And then you have some short answer questions all around transform, advocate, and grow, which are the program values. So here's where that history of innovation is going to come into play. So really just sit down and think about what have you been doing the last few years, and how could you most passionately share that with the program application reviewers. The reviewers are all fellow innovators, so they are looking for people to join them, and they want folks that where you can see that passion in what they write. Does anyone on the panel have any thoughts about these short answers, or when you are reading applications, anything that you look for that stands out for you when someone's trying to tell their story of innovation?
One definitely tell all applicants is to pay attention to those keywords, transform, advocate, grow, those pillars that are part of the application process, because those are key things I think we look at in terms of an application. Does it look aiming to transform in some way the community, their school, and then what piece looks like growing, and even in the project, looking at those components and seeing whether or not you've included those in the application. So pay attention to those keywords when you're looking at the questions, because it'll help you to angle your question in a certain way.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sandra. And some good stuff coming right now, even in the back channel. And I see some fellow Mountain View and Colorado cohort members in there answering questions. Thanks so much, Joanne, Desiree. Some really great folks coming in to help you out as well. So you're already getting a taste of this tribe for sure. But somebody has mentioned higher ed. Maybe someone can share with Christy, Kim Palushki, or we've got a couple people working on higher ed projects that might be able to chat with her about that for sure. Cool. And then, John, we can share a little bit about ideas as well. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, can I add something really quick on that?
Of course, yeah.
I would say, just me personally, even though our application process was different, I think that kind of the ideas that we need to present are very similar. Definitely the buzzwords didn't change. They clearly were the same. So I would say that for me, and maybe if I'm looking at an application, it's not, I wasn't successful until I stopped thinking about the tools themselves. So my third round of application was less about Google per se, and more about the change or the actual work or change that was happening. And I'm not saying that the Google pieces aren't there. I found ways to place them in terms of how they were being used subtly, but not so completely directly. Whereas I've seen other applications that are completely about the tool, and those some people have gotten in, but I think that maybe the verbiage of what you do isn't, I mean, I wouldn't want to read, oh, we've just got Chromebooks and we've gone one-to-one, and we're using Google Drive in every single classroom. I don't want to read that. I want to know what exactly you are doing and what the actual process is behind the tools and the applications.
Really good point, Rafranz. I mean, I think that once you free yourself from that, your writing will really come alive with your passion, which really jumps off the page. So you can always have somebody take a peek at it, maybe a colleague, and maybe these questions are even fun. A lot of you might be going back to school and working with teams, so maybe even throw these questions around in your own, network at your school and see what your colleagues say about these answers as well. So, cool. Thanks, guys. If you have any other questions around kind of the short answers, showing your history of innovation, throw those in to the back channel as well, and we'll get to those. But thanks again, fellow innovators, for being in there and answering for sure. If there's any. Cool. Thanks, Roland, for sharing about from the beach and iteration and thinking about your ideas. Awesome. Cool, guys. So once you get those down, again, you can throw those in the doc before you even submit, and then come in here. And there is an advocate piece. That's not a short writing answer. That's a link to something that really shows you out there, what are you doing innovative with content or sharing, and what are you making and contributing to this field and education. So think about what that best piece is that might represent you. Cool, guys. And then there's a fun, what inspires you or influences you. So this hopefully should be fun for you to respond and not too harrowing. But I did see that somebody is stressing about this, what your vision is. And we hope you're not stressing out too much. Hopefully this is fun for you to think about what's possible and how you could get support for changing something in education. And if we're just going to look really quick at what your innovation project looks like, and then we're going to chat a little bit about what this ideation process looks like. The good news is that vision that you come up with right now is not necessarily the one that you're going to see through to completion, and we'll hear from a couple innovators about that. But pivots do happen, and you're going to spend a couple days with a lot of really talented, inspiring people, and you may change at the academy, you may change a couple months later, and that's okay. I think really is understanding your context and having that passion to try to have a new idea to change something in education is what we're looking for. But really these are these pillars to your project, is having a mission that matters, right? All of you have that, I'm sure. Think really big, but start small, right? So many projects might have, one project that we look at all the time is something like Jerome Berg's Lit Trips that he has. If you haven't used those in Google Maps, that's been a platform that has really allowed teachers to engage their students in new ways. But that started very small, right? And it just started out with a small website, and then now he has a nonprofit built off of that at a much larger scale. So think big, but start small is a really big tenet as well. Iterate and fail fast. I know that Roland just posted in there how many iterations that ye might take, or even your application, like Rafran said, might iterate upon. So that's definitely a big piece of this. Sharing everything. So we've been stoked to even see people sharing their videos right now with the Google EI hashtag. Don't be afraid to get your ideas out there and share it, because that's definitely the crux of this community, is sharing these good ideas beyond and collaborating, right? Saying, I'm doing this. I think, Les, you sent out a survey, and folks fill it back out. You get data, so that sharing is so important. And then that data as well is just thinking about how can you collect that during the year with your project. How do you see if it's working or changing anything as well? So cool. If you have any questions around what these design parameters are, drop those in, but that's really the heart of it. And then just so you understand how the projects work, you get a coach like Sandra. You also get a mentor from the Google Certified Innovator community who's matched up with either the tool that you're interested in trying, or maybe it's you want to code a website, or maybe you want to design a program. Whatever it might be, we try to match you up with somebody with a similar skill set or experience base. You have program managers like me and Mark and Michelle who are helping you along the way. And then you have your community, your tribe, your cohort that is helping you finish your project as well. And then you share your final project by the end of the year. That's the goal. Cool. If you have any questions about that, coaches, mentors, your community, let us know. But really, let's dig into your vision and ideas here, folks. In the application, it's really just a title, a description, really thinking about, is your solution kind of a new way to address that? and there is a question that asks that, so you might want to take a second to see, is anyone else doing something similar right now? Could I add to that? Could I change mine? Could I enhance my solution? Think about that and how you could make yours a unique solution to your problem. And then you've got a deck, which is a way to show kind of visually how you might tackle this, and then a video. And that's the end of the application, really, along with your vision. So if you have any questions about that, folks, put that into today's meet. But I wanted to have Les talk just for a second, and then we're going to dive into your ideas. But this is a graphic that our Colorado cohort made in June, and it's a really great way of showing how the year might work with your ideas. And you're really just at the beginning, everybody. So right now we're just at discovery in terms of what this process looks like. So we're just discovering what your context is like and how you might want to change it wherever you're at. So Les, I don't know if you wanted to take a minute and tell us, before we jump into their ideas, maybe a little bit about what you're doing now, and really Les is in the throes of her project and pivoting, and you know, any sort of words of advice around this coming up with an idea phase of discovery.
Sure. So, so I applied to the MTV 16 cohort back. It would have been in January, I think, when the applications were due. And I had this big idea, or more like a big frustration. I think that's a good way to start, is to think about what it is that you love about teaching and what it is that breaks your heart about teaching. And think of those two things as like a Venn diagram. And if you can find that sweet spot in the middle, that's your project. And so for me, like, I loved teaching, and I loved what I was doing in my classroom, using a lot of project-based learning and design thinking. But it broke my heart that to see so many people who weren't exposed to those ideas. And so I really came in sort of like wanting to share with more teachers how you can go about sort of like blowing up your classroom and starting again with a new way of teaching. But at the same time, I was having this problem where I didn't think what I was doing was very interesting, and a big pivot for me came during the cohort. Jay Atwood, who is one of our coaches, showed a video by, I think it was Derek Sivers, called Obvious to You, Amazing to Others. And that's when I sort of realized that what I didn't need to make up something new. It was like what I was doing in my classroom was already a new idea for other people, but because I'd been doing it for so long, it just kind of seemed like, oh, that's just how I teach. And then taking that and really realizing that that could be the focus of my project, is taking this method of design thinking and project-based learning and sharing it with as many other people as I could. And so that's sort of how I went into the academy with an idea or a problem. My question stayed the same, which is how might we create more student-driven learning in our classrooms? But the way I was going to solve it changed from having this idea of being an app of some type to being more of like a program to share with other teachers design thinking and project-based learning in the classroom. And then because of that, I came out of this, and I'd been teaching full-time in a classroom and was offered a job opportunity with a company called Future Design School, which is where I'm working now. And they were running camps for kids around using design thinking as a program. So they run summer camps and after-school programs. And they were interested in starting a teacher training program. So we sort of met and got talking, and I decided to take some time off from teaching to go and work with them, which I'm doing right now. So it was really amazing because it gave me this full-time opportunity to really pursue my project. And since then, I've been really fortunate, like Wendy mentioned, to be able to lean on the innovator community so much for advice and feedback, even in deciding whether I was going to leave my teaching position and try this new thing. I reached out to several people in my cohort and asked for advice, and I've sent out surveys to all of the innovators and received hundreds of responses in the shortest amount of time possible, which was just amazing to see how many people are really engaged in this tribe, as Wendy was saying. And so now I'm in the process of really developing this teacher training program around design thinking, and I ran my first boot camp this past summer, and I'm running more boot camps, hopefully all over the place in the next several months, mostly in Ontario, so all you Toronto teachers out there can check us out. Yeah, so it went from a very small idea of creating this app that would help teachers do sort of track student work in the classroom to being more about empowering other teachers to look at this thing that I thought was very obvious but was amazing to others. I'll post the video actually in the chat so you can watch it. But yeah, so
awesome.
That's sort of my story. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Les. Hopefully that I thought you'd be perfect to share right now about that, just because it's right where everyone is at, and I think your story is really inspiring. So thanks for sharing that.
One more thing I just want to say is that don't come into the program too married to one solution, because I think the design thinking process that you go through during the camp really allows you to go in all different directions. And if you come in like, this is my solution, you should come in with a problem, not necessarily a solution. I think that's just my piece of advice.
Totally. No, I think that's a really good point for everyone, is that pivots are expected, and we're going to spend a lot of time looking at your background and at the problem itself, so it could change. But for now, coming up with, I think, really spending time on that problem and doing some research in this discovery phase in the next couple weeks. Or, if this isn't your right time, keep discovering and keep thinking, and maybe the next cohort might be a good time for you to get that idea in. I did share, folks, a link in the chat, but you can get some idea of our Mountain View cohort and our Colorado cohort. Obviously, there's been tons of cohorts before this, but this is these are the new folks that have been doing the new year-long program. But you can kind of click through and add them to your network. Look at their projects. Maybe you want to collaborate, or maybe they have a good idea that you want to help out with. But just so you can get a sense to see if, man, is my project new? Is somebody already doing this kind of thing? That might be a good inspiration for you. Cool, guys. And then Donnie popped in. So before we jump into your ideas, Donnie, do you want to say hi? What cohort? What are you doing now? And any words of wisdom to everyone? Thanks for coming.
No problem. So my name is Donnie Piercy. I'm a 5th grade teacher / district technology integration specialist for Eminent Schools in Eminence, Kentucky. I was part of the Sydney 2013 cohort. I was one of like 3 Americans who braved going down under. It was really cool. And what was the other question? I forget.
Any words of wisdom to these people who might be interested in applying?
I kind of jumped, so this might have already been said, and I apologize if it has been, but the biggest thing, and it ties into what Leslie was saying, was when you're picking your project, when you're picking the thing that you want to see change, you always want to make sure that it's something that you're really passionate about, and especially make sure it's something that you have connections that can really help make it happen. I know, like with me, one of my things that I wanted to do was to kind of bring Google Apps to the state of Kentucky for the first time. Like on my own, I had seen just in my classroom some of the power of the collaboration tools and things, and I made sure that I kind of, when I got my project up and running, made sure that I kind of reached out to the right people to kind of help get the process started.
Totally. Thanks, Donnie. That is true. Think about what's possible with your idea, and a lot of people, even in our chat right now with Joanne and Desiree and other folks who've joined us, they're all doing a great job out of Colorado even of making those connections and driving these projects. So thanks for sharing that, Donnie. All right, guys. Now it's time for you to share. We've got 10 minutes left, and so what I wanted to do is give you a chance to share what your initial thought is, what your problem is, what you're thinking about applying with. And really, if you want to think about what camp your vision might fall under, right? These are kind of the pillars of transformation that Google uses. But we've got culture, maybe it's technology, it could be training or PD related, maybe it's teaching, learning, and assessment, maybe it's funding and sustainability, maybe it's outreach, maybe it's not even one of these and it's bundled into something else. But start thinking about, you know, where your vision might lie. And now I'm going to actually give you guys time. I'm going to use this great timer from Jenny Magera that I love. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes, and we're all going to go into the back channel. And if you're watching this on the archive, you can use this 3 minutes to just think. But what is this problem that you're facing right now? You know, what a lot of you started back at school, like Donnie. I know Donnie's right back there. For what year is this for you, Donnie?
This is year 11 for me.
Man, year 11 back to school. Think about what's a problem that you're currently facing. What's your vision to change it? And what are some specific advice you might be seeking from our team today, who is all here? So throw one, I'll keep this up on the screen, but throw an answer down to one of those 3 or all of those 3. And then panelists, if you wouldn't mind just jumping in there and giving some feedback to those ideas, let's see what we get. So here we go. Great. Nancy sharing about connecting. So you may have that inkling of the idea like Nancy has right now. Like, you know, you want to connect teachers. And like Les said, that's probably that heart of that is going to be really important when you come to the academy, because you'll have time to really dig into that. But maybe think right now, if you could do anything, Nancy, you know, how could you uniquely connect people, right? If you Google right now and look teacher connection websites, you're going to find a ton of people trying to do something similar. You know, that's something a lot of teachers want to do. What could you do to really blow that out and really make teachers connect or students connect? So think big, but start small. Let's see some other ones we've got coming on here. Kat's shared a problem with site administrators, need for connections with peers. Yana sharing a way to inspire teachers to try more things. So lots of ways around teacher professional development and inspiration. Think of what could you do? What could your program be? What could uniquely help solve that for your teachers that maybe doesn't already exist out there?
And can I also say, I don't know why I keep asking, can I say stuff? Say
it.
I feel like the kindergartner in class.
You should not put your hand up.
That's so funny. So my other suggestion would be, and this is just from my own experience, like I said earlier, my original idea was I was going to start a school, and I had it all planned out. And that's a great idea to do one day, and I might still do it. But at the same time, had I really been thinking about what problem exists right now that I can impact in a deep way, then that would not have been what I spent 2 days doing my design thinking around, if that makes sense. So I think that it's less about putting the whole kitchen sink out there and coming out with this big extravagant idea than it is, and I'm not saying not to be a moonshot thinker. I think that we all want to be that. But I think you also have to think about what can I do now or in the future, what can I work towards in a big way that I can at least, that you at least have some, I guess, pathways to doing it, or even if the pathways aren't there, that there are logical steps in getting there, or illogical, if that makes sense.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I've just been reading actually Kevin Brookhouse's 20 Time Project, and he talks about how, let's say your idea is you want to solve world hunger. Well, there's lots of little steps involved to solving that, and that you might start at your own district or your own city or your own neighborhood first and build on it. You don't need to do that big moonshot thinking like you're saying.
To sort of riff off of what Rafan was saying, I replied in the chat earlier, but start a school is a great one, but how, that's thinking big, but how do you start small, right? And by the way, if you want to start a school, why not start a chain of schools or, you know, a movement of new types of schools? But then how do you start small? Is it an after-school program? Is it something you do on Saturdays? Is it something you can start in your classroom that's different, that would be the model for, because you're not going to create a new school out of nothing. Like, it's going to have to be based on whatever the steps were before. But that's looking at a lot of these too. You know, a lot of them are going to look the same, and sort of the problem that we almost got to the point of joking about over the last two application periods was all the applications that want to improve teacher PD, right? Like it's broad, it's big, we all want to do it, but it's there's sort of this need for specificity too. What are you bringing to the table? What are you passionate about? What do you think you can affect? To reference one of Jay's talks again, he shared the hedgehog concept, which is worth looking up if you don't know it already. But like, what's the one thing that you are uniquely positioned to change or do? And Rafranz was saying, and then some of the others were saying something similar, and Les too, I think. But what's a very specific element that you think you could change in a big way, and then how do you start small with that?
Mark, to add to that piece about how there's a lot that seem like they're the same, I think that if you're listening and watching this, don't be discouraged if you're seeing other people that have ideas that are similar to yours either, because I think one of the great things about this is when you come together at the academies, you're going to find like, oh, we all want to do something around English language learners. Let's team up and become a team. So don't feel like your project has to be like totally different than anyone else's out there. So if you're seeing other people putting ideas and you're like, oh, someone just stole my idea, I can't do that now, don't think like that. Instead, think about how you can possibly collaborate with those people in the future. Yeah, it's great to see some of that come together with the teams on site and people pair up, or even working across cohorts with the new cohorts. That said, you definitely have to stand out. And advice I've given for years is we don't want the why you should pick me video or why I love Google video. Find a way to present your problem and your thoughts around a solution as uniquely as you can. Tell a story. Use that 60 seconds for impact. Think like a commercial director, right?
Can I say something too?
Go for it, yeah.
I was also thinking that sometimes we get stuck on the idea being, or the actual topic being the innovation or the creativity aspect, but sometimes it's even in the process, the idea, the solution to the problem. So the problem might be very similar amongst everybody, but you might come up with this really unique way to solve the problem that you can bring into the table because of who you are and your gifts and your skill sets and even your community that you're in. And so thinking about that is also helpful.
Totally. Thanks, Sandra. You guys are throwing such good things in the chat. I'm going to stick around definitely to keep chatting in the actual chat room. Some really, really good ideas and connections being made. Looks like Paige threw out a Twitter to get connected with ELL folks. So please do that. And you guys are doing exactly what Donnie already mentioned. It's just like that piece of connection is so important in advocacy for your project. But even just looking at like Steve talking about math, and piggybacking off of Mark, but just even if it's not going to be your final idea, like Les said, obviously there's going to be a lot of people who, whatever, insert curriculum here and want to make it engaging. That's not, that's the heart of many problems in education right now. So that's a fine problem to tackle. It's just thinking of what could my specific program be? What are those elements? What's going to make it tick? And maybe it is I want this kind of math in every school. But how do I start? What's something easy that I could hand out at my school, or a certification that my students could get, whatever that might be. But I think thinking of those logistics and what it might look like and putting that in your deck and putting that somehow in your video, and if it changes, that's totally fine. But think about what is a unique way that a program that you could have that could do that for sure.
Wendy, can I kind of add on to that?
Yeah.
A lot of times the innovators, the people who apply and the people who get accepted to the academy, a lot of times they're already doing that kind of stuff in their classroom. Maybe they're kind of tinkering around with it. Maybe they're kind of just playing around with, like you were mentioning, I'm trying this unique math thing for this year. And then their project can be scaling that out, right?
Totally, yeah. Thinking about what you might already be doing. I think a lot of innovative projects is something that they've started small in their classroom and want to 10 that out for sure. I see a ton of ideas in here. Panel, if you have a few after we stop the broadcast, I know I'll be in here trying to answer any of those. Also, guys, on the actual event page, we'll throw out the slide deck there so you can go back through the slide deck. The archive will be there so you can watch this later. But if you have any other technical questions right now that you have, please feel free to drop those in. We will respond to your actual ideas and give you some feedback as well as a way you might be able to make it more specific. But really that's what the main feedback would be, is just how could that be a program? What would the specifics be? Is someone already doing something similar? Panelists, thank you so much. I know we're at the hour, but I don't know if you guys wanted to maybe go any other final strategies that you might have or words of wisdom before we go. I think we did just put here to get your level 2. Be googly, let your passion shine through in your video, like Mark mentioned. Try to be specific if at all possible. So, really try to map out what it could look like. Try to be unique. Don't get discouraged if you don't get in. I saw several people in the chat. This is their second, third time. Keep trying, and there isn't specific feedback that can come to you based on kind of the volume of what comes in, but know that it's going to be somewhere along those lines of what we've chatted about today. Any other final words, guys?
I have a final word. Don't be discouraged about videos and projects. And I said that earlier, but I will reiterate that. Because the one thing that I did this, and I think every friend that I ever had applied, people are starting to post their videos and their ideas online, and especially in here. And it's easy to think that your idea sucks in comparison to theirs. Don't think that. Yes, there's always room to rethink and reiterate, but that doesn't mean that your idea isn't good, and it doesn't mean that your video isn't, unless it really isn't. And I'll admit, my first 2 sucked. So, you can be inspired by what other people do, but don't let it completely send you into this black hole of I can't do this because someone else does something, just that looks completely insane. So, just want to throw that out there because it will happen.
And I think it's worth sharing. We do get hundreds of applications for each of these, but it's not thousands. Your chances of getting chosen go way up when you apply.
And then Mark, since Clint just had a quick question about the video, I know we've all seen a ton of videos in our day. What really specifically kind of stands out to you? Do you have a favorite video that you remember? I think I have one that I remember that I love, that love story that somebody made with their kids, a Google Apps love story.
There are certainly ones that stand out, but I think I think making something that stands out is more important than looking at any particular ones that stood out, right? We get a lot of talking heads, so don't do that, and we get a lot of sort of Powtoons and screenshots. Not to say that you couldn't do something great like that, but your chances are of standing out go way down. Sort of the clever video that's out of the box that moves us in some way is what's going to stand out. Other ones get in, on the basis of the value of their idea, but really the clever video goes a long way to kind of raising the attention around your David Terrios is definitely a standout. To standing out among the crowd. So that's why I say think like an advertiser, in the sense that you've got 60 seconds to tell a story to kind of emotionally impact the other innovators who are scoring the applications.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I put and David Terrio, actually, from Chicago in 2013. He wrote a great blog. I'll put it into the chat, but he wrote a great blog about how to make a great video application for the Innovator program. But this isn't going to be the only program you all apply for. Thinking about advocacy and making yourself and your story heard, these are all great skills beyond this application. So, and I am always a big fan of make a video that you would want to share with your whole staff and inspire them and motivate them. And so if you put that behind it, then it means the time you put into it is double dipped into other things too. But David Torres is so good. I think he uses his students and tells a story about
you could get away
about wrestling student voice, and a great metaphor. So if you just go to YouTube and put in Google Innovator application, you should see some fun ones for sure. But thanks Mark for that tip. All right, guys, I'm keeping folks from dinner, but I'm going to stick around in the chat. So if you're watching, stick around in the chat for a few so we can maybe respond directly to some of your specific questions. But thank you so much, panelists. Thank you, Donnie. Thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks, Les. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Franz. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Sandra. Thanks, Sylvia. And thanks all of you guys. Thanks everyone who's thinking of applying, who's already applied. We're so excited to read your applications and to enter you all into this tribe, as everyone has said. So good luck, and please let us know if you have any questions. You can email info@certifiedinnovators, and you have until August 30th. So get those exams done, start writing down those ideas, and make that application. So thanks everyone for joining us today.
Bye.
Thanks, Wendy.
Bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you.